Some people don't cover their tracks, they just set yours on fire. I learned that the hard way. It started with a scream, sharp, raw, and full of betrayal. How could you do this to me? My head snapped up. Emma stood in the doorway, trembling, her phone gripped so tightly her knuckles had gone white. Her chest heaved, her face streaked with tears. For a split second my mind went blank. The way she was looking at me, like I was a monster, made my stomach twist. Emma, what are you... She threw her phone onto the coffee table, the screen still glowing. I frowned, stepping forward, but she shoved me back. Don't you dare, she shrieked, her voice raw. Just look at it. My pulse pounded in my ears as I reached down and picked up the phone. My hands felt numb, my brain still trying to catch up. And then I saw them, texts, dozens of them, flirty, intimate, disgusting, all from my number. I blinked, my own name staring back at me. Messages full of whispered confessions, plans to meet up, promises of, I miss you already, and I can't wait to see you again. My mouth opened, but no words came out. It didn't make sense. None of this made sense. Emma, Save it! She shrieked, stepping back like I was contagious. You're not going to gaslight me! You're a liar! A cheater! I felt like I had just stepped into a nightmare. My body was here standing in my own living room, but my mind was still trying to wake up. The floor beneath me felt unsteady, the air too thick to breathe. I didn't send these. I finally managed, my voice barely above a whisper. I swear to you. Oh, so now I'm crazy? She cut me off, her sobs turning hysterical. You're seriously going to lie to my face right now, after everything I just found? She was shaking, eyes wild, and suddenly I wasn't sure if I was supposed to be defending myself or calming her down. But then she did something that sent ice through my veins. She turned the camera toward herself. I never thought this would happen to me, she sobbed, live streaming to hundreds of people. My stomach dropped. I gave this man everything, my love, my loyalty, only to find out he's been sneaking around with some other woman. I just found all the proof. And when I confronted him, he had nothing to say. I stood there, frozen, still trying to process what the hell was happening when my phone started vibrating on the table. Texts, missed calls, comments flooding in from mutual friends, family, co-workers. My breath hitched. People weren't asking questions. They were taking her side. Because Emma wasn't just telling them a story, she was writing the script of my downfall in real time. The weight of the phone in my hand felt heavier than it should have. My notifications kept lighting up one after another. Texts from my sister, from my co-workers, from friends I hadn't talked to in months. Emma had set the fire. Now it was spreading. This is insane, I finally muttered, rubbing my temple. You think live streaming is the way to handle this? You didn't even let me... Oh, I'm sorry, Emma cut me off, flipping the camera back toward me. You want to explain yourself? Go ahead. Tell everyone why you thought it was okay to cheat on me. Oh, her voice cracked perfectly at the end, like she had rehearsed it. My hands clenched into fists. She wanted a show. Fine. I exhaled, forcing my expression into something calmer. The more I let her push me, the more I looked guilty. Emma, let's think about this logically. I pointed at the texts. If I was cheating, would I really be dumb enough to leave all of these messages sitting on your phone? With timestamps that overlap when I was literally at work or at home with you. Her jaw twitched. For the first time, a flicker of something else crossed her face. Hesitation. Then she recovered. So what? She shot back. You expect me to believe some stranger just planted fake messages on my phone? That's insane. I didn't answer. I just watched her. And that's when I saw it. A small, almost imperceptible shift. The way she wouldn't meet my eyes. The way she clutched her phone, her fingers tightening like she was protecting something. She wasn't just accusing me. She was hiding something. A realization hit me so hard it made my stomach twist. This wasn't about proving my guilt. This was about distracting me. Emma needed this fire to burn bright enough that I wouldn't see what was behind it. But now I did. You know what? I murmured, stepping forward. The camera was still on me, still recording. I didn't care. Go ahead, Emma. Keep playing the victim. Keep feeding them your version of the story. But tell me this. I leaned in slightly, lowering my voice. Are you sure you didn't forget to delete your own messages? She froze, just for a second. Just long enough for me to see the terror flash across her face. And suddenly I knew. Emma wasn't just covering her tracks. She was standing on a bridge soaked in gasoline, hoping the fire she started would burn mine first. Emma's face flickered with something, panic maybe, but she recovered fast. With one swift motion, she ended the live stream, putting on a performance-worthy sigh as she placed her phone down on the table. "I can't do this right now," she murmured, rubbing her temples. The room fell into silence, thick and suffocating. I waited for her to say something, anything, but she just sat there looking exhausted, like I was the one who had just put her through hell. Then she exhaled deeply, folding her arms, her voice eerily calm. "I'm done arguing, okay? I've had enough. I don't want to fight, I don't want explanations, and I sure as hell don't want any more lies." I opened my mouth to protest, but she held up a hand. "You have 3 days to pack your things and leave." My breath caught. "Excuse me?" She leaned back, crossing her legs, suddenly composed. Too composed. "I don't care where you go. But this house? The money? Everything? It's mine." Her eyes locked onto mine, daring me to argue. "You cheated, which means you get nothing. You can take your old car and be thankful I'm not dragging your ass to court." A cold rage simmered beneath my skin. "Are you serious?" I scoffed. "You're kicking me out based on a fake accusation?" She just shrugged. "I don't owe a cheater anything." My fists clenched. She was bluffing. She had to be. "All right then," I said evenly, leaning forward. "If you're so sure I cheated, let's prove it. Call my mistress right now. Let's get her on speaker. I'd love to hear what she has to say." Emma tensed. Just for a moment. Then, like clockwork, she let out another exhausted sigh, shaking her head. "I'm too drained for this," she muttered. "I don't need to play your little mind games. I know what I saw, and I don't need to prove anything to you." I stared at her, my pulse hammering. She was lying. And suddenly I realized something else. She hadn't expected me to fight back. This whole performance, the live stream, the accusations, the forced exhaustion, it wasn't about exposing my affair. It was about making sure I was too blindsided, too crushed to look too closely at her. She wasn't just pushing me out. She was hiding something. I sat back, swallowing down the frustration rising in my throat. "Fine," I said, standing up. She looked at me warily. "Fine?" "Yeah," I forced a smile. "You win. For now." But if she thought I was going to walk away without uncovering the truth, she was dead wrong. The house was eerily quiet. Emma had gone out for errands, which was her new excuse these days whenever she needed to disappear for hours at a time. I sat on the couch staring at the half-packed boxes around me, feeling like a stranger in my own home. 3 days. That's all she had given me to get out. 3 days to erase myself from this place, from this life, over something I hadn't even done. I sighed and pulled out my phone, mindlessly scrolling through the news feed, trying to distract myself from the slow-burning anger building inside me. That's when I saw it. A headline about one of the biggest bands in the world. Legendary band's sold-out concert, a night to remember. Normally, I would have scrolled right past it, but the image below the article made me pause. It was a crowd shot, hundreds of screaming fans, bright stage lights in the background, and in the middle of it, 2 people stood out. A man and a woman. They weren't even the focus of the picture, but something about them felt familiar. I zoomed in. The woman was clinging onto the man's arm, her face slightly turned, lips parted in laughter. The man's arm was wrapped around her waist, pulling her close. They looked like lovers. My stomach twisted. Number it couldn't be. I squinted at the screen, my heart pounding. The lighting was off, the image grainy, but I knew that silhouette. And then I saw it. The bag. A sleek designer handbag, custom made, because I had it made for Emma last year for her birthday. There wasn't another one like it. My breath caught. And just like that, my entire world shifted. It was her. She was at that concert, not alone, not with friends, but with another man. The man she swore didn't exist. I sat there frozen, my fingers numb as I snapped a screenshot. But was this enough? Could I confront her with a blurry crowd shot? Number, she'd deny it. She'd twist the truth. I needed more. I leaned back, rubbing my hands over my face, frustration clawing at my chest. I had come so close. But now, I was stuck. The image wasn't enough to completely expose her. I was about to give up when I swiped down my feed. And then, as if the universe had finally decided to help me, I found it. A new post from an old friend. "Best night ever at the concert! Front row seats were insane! I nearly dropped my phone. It wasn't the caption that sent my pulse racing. It was the second picture in the post. A higher angle, a perfect shot of the crowd. And there, standing in clear view behind my friend, Emma and the mystery man. The angle was different, but now there was no doubt. It was her, the same bag, the same hair, the same goddamn shoes she always wore to special occasions. And this time, their faces were clear as day. I didn't hesitate. I messaged my friend immediately. Hey man, I know this is random, but can you send me all the photos you took at the concert? There's something I need to check. Seconds felt like hours, then, sure dude, why? You see someone you know? I swallowed hard, forcing my fingers to type as casually as possible. Yeah, just think I saw someone familiar in the background. He sent me a full album. And there it was. Multiple angles, multiple shots. Emma standing too close to a man she claimed she didn't know. Emma proving her own lies with every photo. I clenched my jaw, my grip tightening around my phone. She thought she had destroyed every shred of evidence. She thought she had played the perfect game. But in the end, she got caught in someone else's picture. Emma had no idea she was already caught. The concert photos were solid proof, but I knew her too well. She would deny, twist, manipulate. I needed more. I needed something she couldn't escape from. So I did what she never expected. I watched. Emma was careful. Always had been. She never posted anything suspicious on her main account. She barely interacted with anyone outside of her usual circle. She played the role of the grieving, betrayed wife so convincingly that even I had almost believed her for a second. But she slipped up. It was late at night, and I caught her smirking at her phone, fingers typing rapidly, before she quickly turned the screen away when I walked by. That was all I needed to know. She had another account. The next day, while she was out, I created a fake social media account, a faceless stranger. I scrolled through random interactions until I found it. Her other account. Different name, different profile picture, but unmistakably her. I sent a friend request. Blocked. She had hidden everything from me, but not from everyone. I created another account, a harmless-looking woman, someone who seemed like a fan. She accepted. And just like that, the door swung open. Photos, dozens of them, her and him, dates, vacations, their entire relationship carefully hidden away from anyone who might recognize her. It was sickening. But I wasn't done yet. I messaged her. I just wanted to say, I really admire the love you and your boyfriend share. You guys look perfect together. 3 dots appeared, then, aw, thank you so much. That's so sweet of you. She had no idea she was talking to her own husband. I pushed further. He must be amazing. He looks like he treats you so well. Is he like a businessman or something? She replied instantly. LOL, no, nothing like that. He just plays video games all day, barely gets any viewers. I frowned. Oh, wow. So how do you guys afford all the fancy places you go to? A pause. Then, Lamau, that's what ex-husbands are for. My grip tightened around the phone. She was laughing at me, mocking me, living off of me while destroying my life. But she had no idea what was coming next. I screenshotted everything. And then I did exactly what she did to me. I went live. Within hours, my live stream spread like wildfire. By the time I logged off, my phone was vibrating nonstop. Messages, missed calls, and notifications piling up. I didn't even have to say Emma's full name. The internet did the rest. By morning, the story had already been picked up by multiple gossip sites. Woman publicly accuses husband of cheating, only to be exposed as the real cheater. Every article laid out the details, how she humiliated me first, how she framed me, and how she was ultimately caught by her own arrogance. Screenshots of her messages, the concert photos, and even clips from my live stream were everywhere. The comments were brutal. She ruined his reputation, and now it's coming back to bite her. How do you accuse someone of cheating while living off their money for another man? This is the ultimate karma. Some people even went digging and found her second account. The place she had hidden her double life was now filled with thousands of strangers tearing her apart. Emma tried to fight back. She deleted comments, then made her account private, but it was too late. She'd become the internet's favorite villain. At work, her colleagues whispered about it. Friends she had manipulated into turning against me started messaging apologies. Even her family, who had been cold toward me ever since her accusations, went silent. The man she had cheated with, he vanished. No posts, no comments, no support. He had been happy to be with her when things were secret, but the moment the world saw them for what they really were, he bailed. And Emma, she was left with exactly what she had tried to do to me. Nothing. Emma disappeared from the public eye, but the damage was already done. No matter how many accounts she deleted, how many times she tried to restart, her name was already cemented in online infamy. The internet never forgets. Strangers whispered when they saw her in public. Job interviews ended abruptly once they recognized her. Friends who once stood by her now avoided her calls. But the worst part wasn't the world turning against her. It was the quiet. Late at night, sitting alone in a tiny rented apartment far from the house she once bragged about owning, Emma found herself replaying that night. The night she went live. The night she took everything too far. She'd been so sure she was in control, so sure that the world would believe her. But the moment she pressed that button and let thousands of eyes into her fabricated tragedy, she had sealed her own fate. Would things have been different if she hadn't live-streamed? If she had confronted her husband in private? If she had kept her accusations between them? If she had just taken a moment to think instead of performing for an audience? Would she still have her old life? The thought gnawed at her, a question without an answer. But deep down, she already knew. She had built her own downfall. And no matter how much she wished she could undo it, there was no rewind button on reality.